there's some people that are worse than child molesters. Worse than child molesters. Ain't no, that's the lowest you can go is a child molester. You say, no, you ain't lived long enough. But there are some people that are worse than a child molester. And I'm like Hugh, I'm puzzled. And then the guy said, a bad doctor, lawyer, or mechanic are worse than a child molester.
Warning: SirRodCast can lead to an array of side effects. Symptoms like nausea, vomiting, explosive diarrhea, sudden distaste for previously loved foods, and an inexplicable headache might emerge, persistently nagging like a bad song stuck in your head. Prolonged SirRodCast exposure, you might find yourself breaking out with rashes, skin blisters or peels, or developing a sudden wheeze, all of which signal a red alert. In such cases, halt all consumption of SirRodCasts and seek immediate medical attention. SirRodCast is not for the faint of heart. Proceed with caution and always keep your healthcare provider on speed dial for any unexpected misadventures.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you to one of the nation's most exciting entertainers. He is the former creative director for So Deaf Recordings. He has one of the best-selling artist development books, The 10 Commandments of the Stage. All the way from Atlanta, Georgia, put your hands together for the Star Maker, Mr. One-Man Show, Ollie Patterson's baby boy. Give it up for SirRod Patterson.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of the SirRod Cast, a podcast about everything and nothing at the same dang time. Oh, we got a good one for you today. Got a lot of ground to cover. Yeah, I want to get right into it. But before I get into that, I always just like rush right into my segments. Hope everybody's staying cool out there. It is 1,000 degrees out. Oh my God, it's hot. I was out doing some domestic work in the front yard and I about melted. Oh my God. There's got to be a better way. Oh my goodness, it is extremely hot. This weather here in Atlanta reminds me of one time me and the manager, we went to Vegas years ago before my son was a little bitty boy. We was in Vegas, but I don't remember a lot about that trip. But one thing I do remember, the heat. You couldn't even stay out in the heat. You had to jump in between the casinos because it was just hot. And that's how it feels. This is like a dry heat. I don't know how it is or your neck of the woods. I'm probably singing to the choir, whatever that saying is, but it's hot. All right. Hope everybody's staying cool. All right, let's get into the very first segment of the program. And that segment is We Just Talk. What I'm going to be talking about today is something that blew my mind. You know, the Olympics is like next month in July. And we've been watching the Olympic trials, the usual stuff you see. But it was something that just caught me off guard. And I don't know if you guys have been watching, but it is this 16-year-old prodigy. Oh, my goodness. This kid is beating grown men that are twice his age, literally twice his age. You're just looking at raw talent. Anybody ever ran any track? I used to run track when I was in high school, and so I know a little bit about it. I know about the 220 yard. It was yards back then. They called it something else, 400 meter or whatever now. But I ran that, and I also ran the 440. That's a whole lap race. I did the high jump, long jump, 333 immediate hurdles. So I did a lot of stuff in the track arena. So I kind of know what I'm looking at. And there's certain forms you're supposed to do. You look at this kid's form. He's just running just like he out playing. And in that wild form, he's still running grown men down. As a matter of fact, I think he made it to the finals. in the 440, whatever they call it now. And I think he's got a shot to be in the 100 on the relay team. That's impressive. More than it. That's like mind-blowing that a 16-year-old could hold it down like that. That reminds me of the little story of the bumblebee. The old saying, the scientists say that the bumblebee is not supposed to be able to fly because its little puny wings are too small to hold up that big body. Everybody knows that. I know that. The scientists know that, and the textbooks know that. But everybody know that except for the bumblebee. Yeah, the bumblebee don't know that, and so he flies anyway. He don't know any better, and that's how I see Mr. Quincy Wilson, this 16-year-old prodigy. He don't know he ain't supposed to be beating these men like he's doing, and so he just keeps on doing it. I tell you one thing. You guys better, that run that race and any other races that he's attached to, you better enjoy it while you can, because 4 years from now, you can mark it in your calendar. Quincy Wilson's going to own track and field in whatever he decides to do. Yeah, that is like a little Tiger Woods of the track. It's good to see young folks. You know, it's just real good feeling to see young folks doing positive things, because there's so much negative going on with the youth. But it's good to see a good story every now and then, something going on with the youth. And speaking of positive stories in youth, this brings us to the next segment of the program, and that is good news segment of the program. Yeah, this brings us to the good news. This is, the youth are doing some big things. This, last episode, I think it was the New York was making the news, but now it's the youth doing some big things. Here in Atlanta, I got a text from a good friend of mine, James Green, and he hit me up and said that his son was going to be on Fox 5 News. He didn't say why, but he just said his son was going to be on the news. And so he said, make sure to tune in. So I'm a supportive friend, so I tuned in. And then I come to find out that his son, Raymond Green, is a part of the Usher New Look Foundation. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary. And they're having a 7th annual, what they call this name, I think it's kind of cute, Disruptivator Summit. I might have messed that up. Disruptivator Summit. I guess that's a youth, destructive Vader, kind of like Terminator, but destructive Vader. I guess they're disrupting things with their positivity. But anyway, they're having their 7th annual summit, and Raymond is going to be a part of that, and also a lot of other people are going to be in it. But that is really big for Usher to reach out and do some positive things for the youth. And I think this organization is helping these kids kind of pursue their dreams and giving them a new look and a new spin on their interests. Like Raymond's, his thing is photography and entrepreneurism. He wants to be a business owner. And this other young lady, I think she's the same thing. She wants to be an entrepreneur in, I think, technology. So that is real positive to see that there are some positive things going on with the youth and with the entertainment industry. Then it's all negative. See, this stuff don't make the national news. This was just local here in Atlanta. And so I want to give a big shout out to Brother Raymond and Mr. Usher for doing a positive thing. Oh my goodness. I love stories like this. So that is the good news of the day. And this brings us to, while we're talking about news, we might as well just scoot on over to blues news. Yeah, the blues news. Now in the blues news section of the day, it's going to be short, simple, and sweet again. This is SirRod and the Blues Doctor Save My Life Tour. We're going to be visiting Greensville, South Carolina, and that's going to be on July 13th. Now, we're going to be doing a couple things. I'm going to put the flyer or the information, we're doing some creative things. Now, I know we're going to be playing during the day. I don't know if it's going to be a festival or a club, but what's interesting about this, afterwards, I think on Friday and then Saturday, I think we're there 2 days, but on the 13th, SirRod is going to be sitting in on a jam session. I think it's called the Blues Barbecue Jam Session, but we're going to be jamming afterwards. And so you guys can kind of come and hang out. I get to see, play with some of the local musicians, and Adam Gusso, the world-renowned best harmonica player in the world, he's going to be sitting in on a session. We're not going to be sitting together. I think it's going to be 2 different sessions. I'll be doing one with one group. And the mayor of this town, he plays. So I don't know if I'll be sitting in with the mayor or Adam be with the mayor, but we're going to be with some significant people in the area. That's going to be fun. If you're in the Greenwood, South Carolina area, come on by. Jam with us, or at least check us out. It's going to be fun. Hope to see you in Greenwood. Hope to see you in Greenwood on July 13th. And with that being said, we're just going to keep on keeping on. And the next segment is
SirRod, what you're doing? Hey, SirRod, what you doing? What you're doing, SirRod?
What is SirRod doing? SirRod is doing a lot. You know, apart from SirRod and the Blues Doctors, there's SirRod the Entertainer that does some things too. And he's got his own little thing that's been percolating. And I got some good news. Now, it's in the works. It's not official, but I'm like 90% sure that this is going through because we already made the phone call. Now, their people got to talk to my people, but they talking. And I am like I said, 90% sure this is going through. So that's why I'm making the announcement. SirRod, the Entertainer, is going to be joining the Bill Glass Prison Ministry. The Bill Glass Behind the Wall Prison Ministry. That's a tongue twister for me. But yeah, I got to talk with some of the head people there, and they reached out to me. Someone passed my name on to their people, and then we got to talking, and they got excited, and I got excited, and I think it's just a good combination. You know, I've already was working with the Red Clay Ministries going into prisons, and I've been doing that for a couple years. And I think I actually did something with Bill Glass many years when I first started. I think we were in Perry, Georgia. They had some kind of tryouts, and I went there. And then I ended up going to Alabama doing some things, and then I ended up going this way and that way, and we all got in lost communication. But, you know, it's all in God's timing. So we back together again, and that's going to be big because, you know, like I was explaining to them, you know, they have, the way their prison formula work is, they usually set up in the courtyard of the prison, if you can imagine, like you see on television. It's a courtyard, a recreational field where they all set up most of the time. And they bring speakers and they have food or whatever, but the prisoners are under no obligation to attend because it's a religious thing. And so what they need to have someone that can draw the prisoners over to where a religious talk to them or a motivational talk, and then, you know, try to, you know, evangelize to them, you know. So, but that's a really tricky thing because if you think about it, the prison population is mixed, you know, there's black, white, Puerto Rican, young, old, and it's just a pot of different people there. So what kind of talent would it take to be able to draw people in? Not everybody can do it. And also just being in that prison setting is intimidating. You know, it's intimidating. You know, most people can't even think straight once they get behind them bars. But like I said in one of my posts, I have a gift, and I've done it before, and it was blowing me away. The first time I did it in Alabama for Bill Glass, I was in a pod. It was about 45 men in there, and big guys. I mean, big guys with tattoos all in their face, all in their scalp, and white, black, Puerto Rican, little short, big. It's the funniest thing to see a man with tattoos in his face talking about my girl, talking about my girl. Everybody loves Motown. And when I put the Michael Jackson wig on, I do a little Michael Jackson. I do a medley. So that's another thing. What's the challenge is I only have 15 minutes to do my thing to draw them in. So I do a medley. And I start with the Temptations medley. I go into Michael Jackson. I end with Bruno Mars. All within 15 minutes. I blow their socks off. So it's a real powerful presentation. It's flawless. I've been doing it for years. So I'm excited about being able to bring my light to dark places. And they're going to be flying me all around the nation to do this. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the prisoners, and I'm excited for Bill Glass. I'm just excited to be able to share my gift. So that's what SirRod is going to be doing. And I'm not going to stop visiting my nursing homes, assisted livings, and bringing my light into that. And when I can, my motivational speaking, coming and talking to the students and kids and colleges and high schools and middle schools and elementary, I can talk to them all. I want to do that as well. I got a lot of stuff to say, and I got pockets to empty. I always say, I want to go to my grave with my pockets empty. I want to take nothing with me. I don't have all these gifts and talents that I have to just take it to the grave with me. And speaking of gifts and talents, real quick, I want to give a shout out to a dear friend, Miss Sherry Dunn. Out of all my many talents, I'm also a graphic artist. And I had the pleasure of designing her book cover. Oh my goodness, it turned out real nice. It's hardcover. I've done a lot of book covers in my time, but this one turned out especially nice. Oh my God, I did the back, and that's her picture there. And I even designed a little book cover for her. So very nice product. And then she's so sweet. She signed it for me. But the beautiful thing is I have a book called Never Too Late. My book, it's Never Too Late. Why this book right here is important is because Miss Sherry, she's in her 80s and she's releasing books. So that's why I tell you, it's never too late. And I love encouraging. I don't just talk this, I walk this. I help them do whatever they got to do. So big on her. This book is on Amazon. It's about her. She worked a double murder trial in Tampa, in Florida, and she was on the jury. And I can't wait to read it, but it's very, it's a good book. Oh my goodness. So congratulations, Miss Sherry. I'm gonna give you one of these, Miss Sherry. Yeah, congratulations. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to our next segment of the program, and that is Numbers Talk. Now, last episode of SirRod Cast, I didn't I didn't do the Numbers Talk because I was still recuperating from New York. But believe you me, the numbers were still showing up in New York. Around our hotel, right across the street, it was the 333 was the building number, 333 something. And then there was all kind of cabs and all kind of, just numbers were just coming in big. And then right after I got back, I had to do a gig like a couple days later. And the gig was like an hour drive. And so I'm on this long drive to go out here and entertain this assisted living nursing home. Right in front of me, I kid you not, and I'm posting the picture up, was this bus, school bus right in front of me. Threes just as big. And every time I do this, and that lets me know, at least this is the way I take it, that I am on the right path. And then I was on a TikTok or something like that. I don't know. I was on, it might have been TikTok, and I saw this girl with a million piercing in her face. And she was telling some horror story about her abusive boyfriend and how they going at it or whatever. But then I happened to look real close, and on her necklace, She had 444. You know, these numbers just sneak in and own you. So other people are seeing these. Numbers. So, but I decided to sneak this one in, short, simple, and sweet. Still seeing the numbers. I don't know if you guys are seeing it, but you can let us know and correspond with me. And I want to share some number stories. I think I did one of the podcasts. I don't know if it was episode 8, about a girl who was seeing. She hit me up and she's seeing these South Carolina car tags. And so I get all these emails. I just got to go through my YouTube and look at all the emails that I get and start discussing them. But SirRodCast@gmail.com. Send me your story. You can share your number story, SirRodCast@gmail.com. All right, let's go on and bring this ship on home. This show is going to run a little long. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes. It's hard. We are coming down home stretch. And the next segment, in the final segment, is...
The views expressed by SirRod and his thoughts are not necessarily the views of this organization, channel, the state, county, or anyone else in the world. Furthermore, the advice given is not to be used as legal, spiritual, or for exorcisms. Please consult a lawyer or rabbi for legal or spiritual advice, and for exorcisms seek a Catholic priest.
All right. Just my thoughts. I should say my closing thoughts. I listened to a guy on TikTok, and his guy's name is Hugh Brown. He's not for everybody, but sometimes I like wisdom. I like listening to old people. And sometimes old people can just be jotting out little wisdom nuggets that I just love. And so there's a lot of old people like him I'll listen to because it's just that old school wisdom. And I think his is called Common Sense Moments that he does. But like I say, he's not for everybody. But one thing he said the other day, he was talking with a friend, and he said, the friend told him that there's some people that are worse than child molesters. People said, worse than child molester? Ain't no, that's as low as you can go as a child molester. He said, no, Hugh, you ain't lived long enough. But there are some people that are worse than a child molester. And I'm like Hugh, I'm puzzled. And then the guy said, a bad doctor, lawyer, or mechanic are worse than a child molester. Now that's kind of harsh. I get the line of thought because they're talking about kicking you when you're down. A bad doctor, lawyer, or a mechanic. Yeah, that make you feel some kind of way. But I like to add one to it. Also, a bad preacher or a pastor or somebody that leads the church down the wrong way. You know what happened in Jonestown in Guyana, drinking the Kool-Aid. And to me, that's just as foul as those other people because those are trusted positions. And when some people take advantage of those, for me, I had a cancer scare once upon a time, a few years ago. And a doctor offered to take my whole prostate out when it should have been, let's just wait and just take a look and see. And I did some studying and found out that it wasn't that bad. And knock on wood, I've been holding tight. Matter of fact, my numbers went down. But if I would have just right then and there went with what he was suggesting so he can make $60,000 to $100,000 to rip it out, no. So I understand a little bit what Brother Hugh was talking about. Or I remember one time I had to go take my car in. Actually, it was my wife's car. She had to get some rotaries, brake pads and rotaries. So I went up to some kind of tire place. It was close. I went up there and said, hey, how much to put some rotaries on here and pads? This brother said $1,200. After making me wait an hour and a half to come out to tell me $1,200, I told him, you can take it off the gurney. Let me take it. You think I'm boo-boo the fool. I took it to my shade tree mechanic, who I've been going for the years. But this guy was right close. But I went to my shade tree mechanic, who, like I said, I've been going to for years. He did the whole thing for like $265. Plus I gave him $100. So $400 in and out the door, opposed to $1,200. And then finally on my list of bad would be the lawyers. I was in child support court. I wrote a book about all this stuff. They were going to try to raise my child support up to, say, $600 or $800. And I thought that was ridiculous. $800? Lost your mind. Your boy was a work of art back then. So that wasn't bad. For 2 kids, $800, I should have just been happy. But no, I'm a fighter. Man, I went in that courtroom with a bad lawyer. By the time they finished, that $800 went to $1,200. And I write about it in my book, The 10 Commandments of Child Support. But so I understand exactly what Mr. Brown was talking about. But, you know, at the end of the day, it comes back to you. You know, they always say you point your finger at other people, but you got 3 fingers pointing at yourself. It all comes back to you at the end of the day. You got to do your research. Just because somebody, a doctor or a lawyer or a mechanic, tell you something, you got to do your research before you even go see him. So you kind of know what's going on. And just don't take everybody's word. You just can't be trusting, especially not nowadays. And that's my advice to you. Get a second opinion if it's a doctor. Don't just go with your gut, because at that moment where all you're feeling, especially major decisions, that something out your body, don't rush. Everybody's not your friend. And how my brother said, Hugh Brown, he also said in his podcast, wherever there's a lot of money, there's going to always be crooked, crime, and lying. Lying, stealing, crime, always attached with a whole lot of money. So in any field, there's going to always be shady people. So yeah, do your due diligence. It's your responsibility. Don't let them rip you off. You better do your study. And sometimes you just get got. And chalk that up to a learning experience. Peace. I understand their logic. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I want to say that this is going to be the last technically live for me recording of the podcast until the next season. We're going to be wrapping this season up. The next episode is going to be the best of, and that'll be episode 12. And then we're going to start a new season in August 1st, because July I got to be out on tour and I got so much stuff to prepare before I go out on tour. So we're going to start a new season, another 12 episodes in August. And I got some surprises coming up. It's only going to get better. I want to give you a sneak peek, but I can't. The next season, I'm going to be making announcements. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for all your time. And I want to thank you for if you watched all the other episodes and you've been hanging in there. I appreciate it. It is greatly appreciated. So listen, I always say that at the end of every one of my podcasts, and I really mean it. I always say, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention. But most of all, I want to thank you for listening. You've been a wonderful audience. You didn't have to, but you did. You gave me just a little bit of your time, and I don't take that for granted. And I really thank you for it. Now, what I need you to do between now and when I start the new season, what I need you to do is turn off whatever device you're listening to or watching. Turn it off. Go out and find something else better to do. And then once you do, hit me up and let me know what you did. All right, you guys, you take care. The next episode of the SirRod Cast is going to be the best of. So that's going to be exciting too if you missed any. Guys, y'all take care. I'll see you next season. Have a wonderful summer. I'll see you then.